It's no one person, no one thing can fix this.
5 minutes ago, Prince William dropped a bombshell that no one saw coming. Meghan Markle has been told, in no uncertain terms, that her royal comeback is over, forever.
I would never want someone else to feel that way. And I would never want someone else to be making those sort of plans. And I would never want someone else to not be believed.
This isn't gossip or speculation. It's a shocking, final decision that has left the palace and the world reeling. What could push the future king to deliver such a devastating verdict? In late 2024, one of the most closely watched families in the world reached a moment of very clear and very public decision. Prince William, the Prince of Wales and heir to the British throne, issued a statement that stunned observers internationally. What made this moment so remarkable was not just what the statement contained, but the fact that William chose to deliver it himself, rather than through the more typical channels of palace communications. By doing so, he underscored the seriousness of the message and sent it straight to audiences around the world. The core of that message was straightforward and unambiguous. There would be no pathway for Meghan Markle, formerly the Duchess of Sussex, to return to royal life in any official capacity. This was not another carefully worded palace release that left room for interpretation. It was a direct and final response to ongoing questions about the role Meghan might play within the British monarchy going forward. Within minutes of its release, newsrooms and social media feeds around the globe were reporting on what had just happened, with many describing the statement as unprecedented in the modern era of the monarchy. For decades, the communication strategy of the British royal household has favoured diplomacy, nuance, and carefully measured language. When official statements are released, they are normally crafted by palace press teams and vetted through layers of advisors. This process ensures that language reflects institutional priorities and avoids inflaming already sensitive situations. But in this case, William's name was attached personally to the announcement, and that detail was widely noted by commentators and royal watchers alike. The inclusion of his name signaled that this was not a statement made on behalf of the institution alone, but one that reflected his own view and his own resolve. Reports following the announcement highlighted how rare it is for a senior royal to speak so directly on a matter that, by tradition, would normally be left to officials at Buckingham Palace or Clarence House. The fact that William stepped forward in this way suggested a culmination of pressures and a sense that ambiguity was no longer sustainable. Rumours and speculation that had circulated for years about fractures within the royal family were no longer enough to quell public curiosity. The statement brought a degree of clarity that many felt was long overdue. Reaction to William's message was mixed. Some commentators and members of the public expressed shock, describing the language and tone as unusually final. Others offered support, arguing that the monarchy needed clear lines and stable continuity in order to function effectively in a changing world. Still, others questioned whether a family matter should ever be aired so publicly, particularly one that involved personalities and relationships that continue to have emotional complexity attached to them. Yet regardless of the reaction, it was undeniable that the statement had changed the narrative. To understand why the announcement was so impactful, it helps to recall how we arrived at this point. Meghan Markle and her husband, Prince Harry, stepped back from full-time royal duties in 2020 in a decision that was widely covered by the global press. The move, often referred to as Megxit, marked a significant departure from traditional royal roles and expectations. It was a decision that invited both praise and criticism, and it set in motion a series of public and private tensions that would continue for years. In the years following their decision to live primarily in the United States, Harry and Meghan maintained a public profile that blended philanthropy, media projects, and occasional commentary on their experiences with the institution they left behind. During this period, there were repeated rumours and speculation about whether they might one day seek a return to royal duties or resume some form of official role. Those rumours never fully abated, even as both sides, the Sussexes on one hand and the royal establishment on the other, sought to clarify where they stood. Against that backdrop, Prince William's December 2024 statement was remarkable because it offered something that hadn't been clearly articulated before: a definitive answer to the question of whether Meghan could re-enter the royal fold. The answer, according to the prince himself, was a firm no. Not now, not later, and not in any official capacity. Analysts pointed out that by making such an explicit statement, William was signalling more than just a rebuff of a potential comeback. He was also drawing a line under years of uncertainty and speculation. That kind of clarity is rare in royal communications, where ambiguity is often used deliberately to avoid unnecessary controversy. In this case, however, ambiguity had already fueled years of debate, and there were growing calls among royal commentators for a more definitive stance. One widely discussed aspect of the announcement was how it reflected the evolving priorities of the monarchy in the 21st century. A monarchy that once moved carefully and slowly in matters of public messaging now found itself in a position where direct engagement was necessary to address public perception and institutional stability. By speaking directly, William may have been seeking to reassure both British subjects and international audiences that the monarchy remains a coherent and stable institution, even as it navigates internal divisions. Another reason the statement attracted so much attention was the extent to which it seemed to go beyond normal palace press activity. Instead of issuing a brief press release or letting traditional channels communicate the position, William's direct involvement was interpreted by many as a sign of personal commitment to the decision. It suggested that the matter was not merely an administrative detail, but a personal and institutional priority that required his voice. Media coverage immediately following the statement captured the range of reactions. Experienced royal correspondents described the move as unusual, unprecedented, and significant. Media outlets noted that even seasoned observers of the monarchy had difficulty recalling a similar instance in recent memory where an heir to the throne made such a public and definitive declaration about the status of a former family member. For many observers, the combination of direct language and personal attribution reflected a moment in which the monarchy was adapting to the realities of modern media and public scrutiny. Yet while headlines and commentary focused on the dramatic nature of the announcement, the underlying context was complex. William's decision did not occur in isolation. It was shaped by years of evolving relationships, public scrutiny, and a shifting balance between private family matters and institutional responsibility. The statement was as much a product of that long process as it was a moment of decisive communication. At its core, the announcement made it clear that the question of Meghan Markle's return to royal life was no longer open for debate. Whether or not someone agreed with the decision, it marked a significant moment in the ongoing narrative of how the British royal family manages internal disagreements, public expectations, and the evolving role of monarchy in modern society. And in a very real sense, that announcement was about more than just one person's relationship with the institution. It was a reflection of how deeply personal relationships intersect with roles and responsibilities that have national and even global resonance. For William, choosing to speak so plainly was a way to bring an end to speculation, to close a chapter that had lingered for years, and to set a course for what he and many within the institution saw as the future of the monarchy itself. If you're watching this unfold with curiosity, it's important to remember that behind every headline and every public statement are real people and real relationships. The way that families navigate conflict, forgiveness, and resolution is shaped by personal history, context, and the pressures that come with being in the public eye. In the case of the British royal family, those dynamics are amplified because every word and every gesture is dissected by the media around the world. Behind every public announcement, particularly one as significant as Prince William's statement regarding Meghan Markle, there are layers of context and complexity that are rarely visible to the outside world. While headlines focused on the directness of the message, the reality is that months of mounting pressures within the royal family and the institution of the monarchy helped shape the decision. These pressures were not limited to interpersonal conflicts. They extended across media scrutiny, legal considerations, security concerns, and the overall need to protect the stability of one of the world's most enduring institutions. Since Meghan and Harry stepped back from full-time royal duties, the British royal family has faced heightened scrutiny over nearly every decision and interaction. While some of this scrutiny is inevitable for public figures, many insiders suggest that a pattern developed over time, one that was both consistent and strategic. Reports of negative media coverage often coincided with key events or public appearances, particularly those involving senior members of the royal family like Catherine, Princess of Wales. Observers note that these stories seem timed to coincide with high-profile moments, creating a sense that some media outlets were deliberately shaping narratives to the detriment of certain members of the family. The palace's media teams were acutely aware of these patterns. Analysts within the royal household monitored coverage closely and documented instances that they perceived as coordinated attacks. In some cases, these negative stories appeared shortly after Prince William travelled abroad or after key initiatives by Catherine were announced. The cumulative effect was a growing concern that the media environment was no longer neutral or random, but potentially being used to apply pressure strategically on the family. This context helps explain why ambiguity or silence was increasingly seen as ineffective. In parallel, security concerns began to mount. The royal household is responsible for the safety of its senior members, and ambiguity about relationships or public roles can create unexpected vulnerabilities. Intelligence briefings over the course of 2024 reportedly highlighted a surge in negative online campaigns and increased threats targeting senior royals, including Catherine. While public attention often focuses on media stories, the security dimension is critical because it impacts personal safety, logistics, and planning for public engagements. Coordinated campaigns online, particularly those that involve threats or harassment, cannot be treated lightly and require active monitoring and intervention. Legal considerations also played a significant role in the pressures facing William and the royal household. Maintaining unclear or undefined boundaries with former senior members of the family carries inherent risks. Ambiguous relationships, particularly those that involve access to official resources, public support, or representation, can create the potential for legal claims or disputes in the future. Palace legal advisors reportedly reviewed these situations thoroughly, emphasizing the importance of setting clear, enforceable boundaries to prevent long-term complications. In the absence of such clarity, even well-intentioned arrangements could inadvertently expose the institution to disputes or claims that might otherwise have been avoided. The pressures facing William were further complicated by the responsibilities he carries as the future king. As heir to the throne, he must balance the personal and emotional dimensions of family life with the practical and symbolic demands of monarchy. Decisions about how to handle family disputes are not simply private matters. They have implications for how the monarchy is perceived domestically and internationally. The perception of stability, continuity, and coherence is central to the institution's authority and cultural influence. When personal conflicts spill into the public domain, they threaten both public confidence and the monarchy's broader institutional objectives. King Charles, already managing his own responsibilities and health, faced a similar balancing act. He needed to navigate his love and concern for Harry with the practical requirements of protecting the monarchy's functioning and reputation. The family's personal dynamics, once contained within private settings, increasingly intersected with matters of public record. This created a volatile situation in which delaying or avoiding decisions was no longer viable. Observers note that the convergence of personal, legal, and institutional pressures contributed to a sense that decisive action was necessary sooner rather than later. Media scrutiny was not limited to negative stories alone. It included constant speculation, leaks, and analysis that could affect both morale and decision-making within the palace. Patterns of reporting and public attention often meant that senior royals were constantly navigating a complex environment where every action, statement, or absence could be amplified or interpreted in ways they did not intend. Over time, this sustained environment of scrutiny placed enormous pressure on those responsible for managing both family and institution. For William, the decision to speak directly may have reflected the recognition that indirect or mediated communication was insufficient to address the ongoing challenges. Beyond the media and legal dimensions, there were also institutional considerations. The monarchy, as a constitutional and symbolic institution, operates on traditions that have been carefully honed over centuries. Uncertainty about the status of a former senior member of the family has implications for succession, ceremonial responsibilities, and broader governance expectations. Undefined roles or lingering questions can create precedent-setting issues, complicate planning, and raise questions for both staff and the public. By making a direct statement, William may have been acting to remove this ambiguity, ensuring that institutional protocols could proceed without disruption. Family well-being itself was a significant factor in the mounting pressures. Catherine, Princess of Wales reportedly played a central role in highlighting the personal impact of ongoing media campaigns and scrutiny. Her observations and experiences underscored that the situation was not only affecting public perception, but also impacting the emotional and mental well-being of the immediate family. For William, this brought a personal dimension to a situation that was already complex on an institutional level. Protecting his family became intertwined with protecting the institution, and decisions that might have once been considered private now carried public and legal weight. Another dimension of the pressures involved timing and external events. Major public engagements, international trips, and key cultural initiatives were all vulnerable to disruption or controversy stemming from ongoing speculation about Meghan Markle's status. Palace staff and advisors had to consider the implications of leaving ambiguity unresolved, particularly in situations that involved coordination with other national leaders or international organizations. The potential for controversy to distract from official duties added a practical urgency to the broader context in which William's decision was made. Over time, the convergence of media scrutiny, security considerations, legal assessments, institutional responsibilities, and family well-being created a situation that could no longer be managed with partial statements or indirect communication. Each factor, while significant on its own, gained greater weight when combined with the others. What began as a series of individual pressures evolved into a complex, interdependent set of challenges that demanded a decisive response. Observers familiar with palace operations have noted that moments of clarity, even when difficult, are sometimes necessary to maintain cohesion, stability, and trust in the monarchy as an institution. While public discussion often emphasizes the symbolic or media-driven aspects of royal announcements, it is clear that decisions of this magnitude are shaped by an intricate web of considerations behind the scenes. The hidden pressures on William and the royal household illustrate how the management of a public family intersects with the management of one of the world's oldest and most scrutinized institutions. In many ways, the statement was as much about preventing ongoing risk as it was about clarifying relationships. By addressing ambiguity directly, the monarchy sought to mitigate further institutional, legal, and personal complications. Ultimately, understanding the context of William's statement requires recognizing the broader environment in which it occurred. It was not simply a response to speculation or public interest, it was a decision informed by months of observation, legal advice, family discussion, and strategic planning. The convergence of pressures created a situation in which maintaining silence or leaving questions unresolved was no longer viable. The cumulative weight of these factors made a clear, definitive statement the most practical course of action, even if it carried personal and emotional consequences. In many ways, this moment illustrates the intersection of private and public responsibilities, and how leaders of institutions must navigate both. The pressures faced by William demonstrate that decisions affecting family and institution cannot always be separated. Media scrutiny, legal implications, security concerns, and public perception all intersect with personal relationships and family well-being. When those elements combine, the result is often a decision that is as much about protecting the future as it is about addressing the present. By making a direct and public statement, William was effectively managing multiple overlapping pressures simultaneously. He was addressing the media, reassuring the public, protecting his immediate family, and safeguarding the monarchy from potential future complications. The statement sent a clear signal that ambiguity was no longer acceptable, and that the institution of the monarchy was taking proactive steps to secure its stability and coherence. In doing so, William was not only resolving a specific issue, he was reinforcing the broader principles and priorities that guide the monarchy in modern times. This understanding of hidden pressures is critical to appreciating the significance of the December 2024 announcement. It shows that the statement was not a reaction made lightly or without consideration. Instead, it was the culmination of ongoing, complex pressures that had been building for months. Each element, from media strategy to legal advice, from security concerns to family well-being, contributed to a scenario in which a clear, decisive action was necessary. Recognizing these factors helps explain why the statement was delivered personally by William, and why it resonated so strongly with both the public and observers of the monarchy around the world. While much of the public attention around the royal family often centers on headlines and media narratives, the internal family dynamics play an equally, if not more, significant role in shaping decisions. In the lead-up to Prince William's December 2024 statement, the involvement of Catherine, Princess of Wales, was reported to be pivotal in influencing how William approached the situation with Meghan Markle. Catherine's perspective and the conversations she shared with William added a deeply personal dimension to what might otherwise have been seen solely as an institutional or public matter. Catherine has long been recognised as an integral part of the monarchy's modern identity. Her initiatives, public engagements, and advocacy work have contributed to shaping the public's perception of the royal family. Yet these contributions, while widely praised, also brought her into the spotlight in ways that increased scrutiny and sometimes subjected her to unfair criticism. Throughout 2024, palace teams reportedly observed a pattern in media coverage that appeared to target Catherine, coinciding with her public initiatives. While such media attention is not uncommon for senior royals, the consistency and timing of negative stories suggested to palace insiders that there may have been a deliberate effort to destabilize her work and image. Catherine herself reportedly noted these patterns and shared her concerns with William in candid discussions. She highlighted that the constant stream of negative coverage was not just inconvenient or irritating, it had tangible impacts on the family's well-being. The combination of public scrutiny, pressure on senior staff, and the emotional strain on family members created an environment that required attention and action. For William, hearing Catherine articulate the effects of this scrutiny brought a new sense of urgency. It underscored that the situation had moved beyond typical media noise or public curiosity and was directly affecting those closest to him. The conversations between William and Catherine reportedly went beyond merely discussing public perception. They involved considerations of personal safety, emotional health, and the practical implications for their children. The couple's shared responsibilities and experiences created a framework in which decisions were influenced not only by institutional concerns but also by the desire to protect their immediate family. Observers note that this human element, the instinct to safeguard one's children and spouse, cannot be underestimated in understanding why William might have felt compelled to act decisively at that moment. Family dynamics also played a role in how William assessed the broader implications of the situation. The relationship between the senior royals is complex, shaped by tradition, protocol, and the need to balance personal feelings with institutional obligations. Decisions involving former senior family members, such as Meghan and Harry, intersect with multiple layers of these relationships. Catherine's observations added clarity to the personal impact, emphasizing that the emotional cost of ongoing ambiguity was substantial. In this context, William's decision to make a clear public statement can be seen as both a protective and strategic choice, aimed at preventing further strain on the family and the monarchy. The Princess of Wales reportedly emphasized that the continuous media campaigns and speculation affected not only public perception, but also the morale and cohesion of the immediate family. Her perspective highlighted that the challenges faced by the monarchy were not abstract. They were real, tangible, and affecting the well-being of the children and the family unit as a whole. For William, this personal insight reinforced the notion that inaction was no longer viable. A definitive response was necessary to shield his family from further stress and to establish boundaries that would allow them to focus on their roles and responsibilities without constant interference. It is also important to consider the interplay between private and public responsibilities in this scenario. William's position as heir to the throne carries inherent obligations, including the expectation to maintain the monarchy's stability and public image. However, these obligations do not exist in a vacuum. They intersect with personal considerations, including family well-being and the relationships he shares with Catherine and his children. The conversations he had with Catherine illustrate how these private discussions can directly influence public decisions. In this case, Catherine's insights likely helped William balance the competing demands of public duty and personal care. Beyond the immediate impact on the family, Catherine's role also underscored the significance of empathy and perspective in leadership. Her ability to articulate how the situation affected those closest to her provided William with a framework for understanding the broader consequences of ongoing ambiguity. It highlighted that decisions about family members cannot be made solely from a procedural or institutional perspective. Human relationships, emotional health, and the daily realities of life within the public eye must also be considered. This perspective likely played a crucial role in shaping the tone and content of William's statement. The influence of family dynamics extended to practical considerations as well. In addition to emotional and psychological pressures, there were logistical and operational implications for the royal household. Ambiguity about Meghan Markle's potential role could complicate official engagements, security arrangements, and the planning of public initiatives. Catherine's awareness of these practical impacts and her communication of them to William likely helped frame the situation as not only a personal concern, but also a matter requiring formal resolution. This dual perspective, balancing emotional and operational realities, was central to understanding why decisive action was needed. Throughout this period, the protective instincts of William and Catherine appeared to converge around the welfare of their children. Raising children within the public eye is challenging under ordinary circumstances, but the added scrutiny and speculation surrounding Meghan and Harry created an environment that required extra vigilance. Reports suggest that William and Catherine were acutely aware of how media attention and ongoing speculation could affect their children's sense of security and well-being. By addressing the situation decisively, they were taking steps to create a more stable environment for the family. The family dimension also highlights how private discussions can influence public actions in ways that may not be immediately visible. While the public saw a statement that was firm and unequivocal. Behind that statement were conversations about emotions, safety, and well-being. These discussions added depth and context to what might otherwise appear as a purely institutional decision. They reflect the complex reality of leading a family while simultaneously navigating the responsibilities of a public institution. In this sense, William's decision was informed by both empathy and strategic foresight, illustrating the interplay between personal values and institutional priorities. In addition, Catherine's role in these dynamics provides insight into the collaborative nature of leadership within the royal family, while the Prince of Wales holds formal authority in matters of succession and institutional decision-making. The input of trusted family members, particularly those with direct knowledge of family well-being, plays an essential role. Catherine's perspective added a crucial human element, emphasizing the importance of considering how decisions affect the emotional health and security of those closest to the leadership. Her involvement reflects how leadership is often exercised through consultation, collaboration, and shared concern for the welfare of others. The culmination of these dynamics, personal concern, institutional responsibility, practical considerations, and public perception, set the stage for the decisive statement issued by Prince William in December 2024. Catherine's observations, combined with William's sense of duty, helped create a framework in which a definitive response was not only appropriate, but necessary. The personal and familial dimensions of the situation were inseparable from the institutional and public dimensions, demonstrating that effective leadership in such contexts requires balancing multiple, often competing, factors. Ultimately, understanding the role of Catherine and family dynamics in this situation provides a deeper appreciation of why Prince William chose to speak directly. It was not simply a matter of addressing speculation or responding to media narratives. It was a carefully considered decision shaped by months of observation, discussion, and reflection. The well-being of the immediate family, the stability of the monarchy, and the clarity of public communication were all factors that influenced the timing and content of the statement. This perspective also highlights a broader lesson about leadership and responsibility. Decisions that affect families in the public eye cannot be separated from the emotional and psychological realities of those involved. By taking into account Catherine's insights and the impact on their children, William demonstrated a commitment to balancing personal care with institutional duty. This balance, while challenging, is essential to understanding the broader context of his statement and the pressures that led to it. The influence of family dynamics in this situation is a reminder that even within institutions steeped in tradition and protocol, human relationships remain central. Empathy, communication, and shared understanding between family members can shape decisions that have far-reaching consequences. In this case, the collaboration between William and Catherine provided the clarity and perspective necessary to navigate a situation that was both deeply personal and institutionally significant. Their partnership illustrates how the personal and the public can intersect, informing decisions that are grounded in both care and responsibility. By the time the statement was issued, The cumulative impact of these family dynamics, combined with media scrutiny, legal advice, security concerns, and institutional priorities, had created a context in which a clear and decisive response was essential. Catherine's role in articulating the personal consequences of ongoing speculation helped ensure that William's decision was informed by a full understanding of both the human and institutional dimensions. In this sense, the statement represents not only a resolution of a specific question about Meghan Markle's role, but also a testament to the influence of family collaboration and shared responsibility in shaping leadership decisions. As the months progressed, the pressures surrounding the royal family extended far beyond media coverage and family dynamics. By late 2024, the unresolved situation with Meghan Markle had begun to attract attention on the international stage. Britain's diplomatic partners were reportedly monitoring developments closely, aware that public perceptions of the monarchy could affect the country's image abroad. For senior members of the royal household, this added an additional layer of complexity to an already sensitive situation. Decisions were no longer just about family or internal institutional stability. They were about how the monarchy was perceived globally and what implications that might have for Britain's soft power. Diplomatic unease arises naturally when institutions central to a nation's identity appear divided or embroiled in ongoing controversy. The British monarchy, while largely symbolic in constitutional terms, is widely recognised as an important cultural ambassador for the United Kingdom. When questions arose about the role of Meghan Markle and the potential for her reintegration into royal life, diplomats reportedly expressed concerns that the ongoing uncertainty could weaken confidence in the monarchy as a stable and consistent institution. These concerns were not framed as demands, but as signals that clarity was expected. In other words, allied nations were observing carefully, and their unease added tangible pressure to resolve the matter definitively. Prince William, as heir to the throne, would eventually take on a central role in representing Britain internationally. The perception of his ability to manage family matters responsibly is not merely a private concern. It reflects on his capacity to manage more complex global responsibilities in the future. If questions about family unity persisted, it could potentially undermine confidence in his leadership both domestically and abroad. In this context, the stakes of clarity were high, extending far beyond the palace walls and media headlines. This international dimension intersected with the other pressures already discussed. Security, legal advice, media scrutiny, and family well-being all remained critical considerations. However, the addition of diplomatic concern highlighted the breadth of responsibility resting on William's shoulders. Decisions that might have once been seen as purely domestic or familial now carried implications for international perception, national identity, and Britain's cultural influence. In effect, the unresolved situation with Meghan Markle had evolved from a family matter into a question of institutional and national significance. Given these converging pressures, the timing of a decisive statement became increasingly important. While internal discussions, consultations with legal advisors, and conversations with Catherine had already established the necessity for clarity, external attention added urgency. Any further delay risked extending ambiguity and allowing speculation to grow, with potential consequences for security, institutional reputation, and diplomatic relations. In this environment, speaking directly was not only a response to internal dynamics, but also a strategic measure aimed at mitigating broader risks. The personal cost of such a decision, however, was undeniable. William's statement had a direct impact on Meghan Markle, ending any possibility of her returning to royal life in an official capacity. It removed access to palace support, security arrangements, and participation in formal events that might have involved her children. Strategically, it also closed a chapter that might have remained open in public discourse for years. The decision underscored the tension between institutional needs and personal relationships, a recurring theme in leadership at the highest levels. For William and Catherine, the decision was informed by a desire to protect their immediate family. Their children's sense of stability and security was a central consideration. Being raised in the public eye already presents unique challenges, and ongoing speculation about a former senior family member could add unnecessary stress and uncertainty. By establishing clear boundaries, William and Catherine were taking proactive steps to safeguard their children while simultaneously ensuring that the monarchy as an institution could continue functioning without disruption. The statement also had broader implications for the royal household and staff. Clarity about the roles and boundaries of former senior members is essential for operational effectiveness. Without a firm position, the household could face logistical challenges in planning events, coordinating security, and managing public engagements. Legal advisors had previously emphasized that maintaining ambiguity could leave the institution vulnerable to disputes or misunderstandings. By speaking directly, William addressed both personal and operational concerns, reducing the likelihood of future complications. Observers have noted that the decision illustrates a fundamental tension inherent in leadership: the need to balance human relationships with institutional responsibilities. In this case, Prince William had to weigh the emotional complexity of family bonds against the necessity of protecting the monarchy from potential instability. While the statement might have been difficult on a personal level, it served multiple practical purposes. It provided clarity, reassured international observers, reduced risk, and allowed the royal household to move forward with confidence. The finality of the announcement was also significant in shaping public and media perception. For years, speculation about Meghan Markle's potential return had persisted in tabloids, online commentary, and broadcast media. By issuing a clear statement, William effectively drew a line under these discussions. This kind of closure is essential in managing public perception, as prolonged ambiguity can foster ongoing debate and undermine confidence in the institution. By making the decision publicly, William ensured that there could be no further misinterpretation about the status of Meghan Markle within the royal family. Legal and operational considerations reinforced the need for finality. Security arrangements, particularly for international travel or high-profile engagements, depend on a clear understanding of who is part of the official household and who is not. Ambiguity creates complications for planning, resource allocation, and risk assessment. Legal advisors had reportedly emphasized that ongoing uncertainty could expose the monarchy to disputes or claims, however unlikely, that might otherwise have been avoided. By establishing firm boundaries, the statement not only resolved a public question, but also created a framework for future operational and legal clarity. The personal aspect of the decision cannot be overlooked. While the statement was carefully crafted to focus on institutional and procedural matters, it inevitably carried emotional weight for those involved. William's actions reflected an understanding of both the necessity of clarity and the human consequences of his decision. For Meghan Markle, the statement represented a definitive end to speculation about her return. For William and Catherine, it represented an opportunity to protect their family and establish a stable foundation for the future. The implications for the monarchy as a whole are notable. By addressing ambiguity decisively, William reinforced the principle that the institution must be safeguarded even in the face of complex personal relationships. Royal commentators have highlighted that leadership sometimes requires making difficult decisions and that establishing boundaries can be essential for long-term stability. The December 2024 statement exemplifies this approach, demonstrating that the monarchy must navigate both personal and public responsibilities simultaneously. This moment also reflects the broader challenges facing modern monarchy. Institutions that have existed for centuries are increasingly operating under intense public scrutiny and media analysis. Decisions that were once considered private or internal now have immediate and far-reaching consequences for public perception, international relations, and legal frameworks. By addressing the situation decisively, William demonstrated an understanding of the multifaceted nature of contemporary royal leadership, balancing personal considerations, institutional integrity, and public expectations. In conclusion, the December 2024 statement represents the intersection of multiple pressures: familial, institutional, legal, security, and diplomatic. It illustrates how private discussions, strategic planning, and personal reflection can culminate in public action with far-reaching consequences. By taking decisive steps, William addressed the ambiguity surrounding Meghan Markle's role, protected his immediate family, reassured international observers, and ensured that the monarchy could continue functioning without unnecessary disruption. The decision underscores the complex nature of leadership within the royal family, where personal and institutional responsibilities are deeply intertwined, and where clarity and foresight are essential for maintaining both stability and public trust. The ramifications of this statement will continue to be felt for years to come. While the immediate impact was a resolution of a long-standing question, the broader significance lies in the precedent it sets. It demonstrates that the monarchy is capable of adapting to contemporary challenges, that it can address internal matters decisively, and that leadership sometimes requires balancing difficult personal considerations with the needs of the institution. In navigating this delicate balance, William's actions provide insight into the evolving nature of the British monarchy and the ongoing responsibilities faced by its senior members in a complex, modern world.